Jayce, but unkillable? Meet the off-meta that is becoming meta, a build so strong, it turns Jayce into a frontline monster while still packing a punch. Let me show you how Grasp of the Undying and a tank setup make Jayce one of the most underrated bullies in the game. So, why does this work? Jayce has incredibly high base damage, which means he doesn't need full damage items to deal serious damage. Instead, with tank items, he can sustain longer in fights, bully early game, and still hit like a truck. And the secret ingredient? Grasp of the Undying. The early game is where this build shines. You're not playing Jayce like a bursty assassin. You're playing him like a lane-dominating bruiser. Here's how you abuse your range and Grasp to take complete control of lane. Start with Doran's Blade for extra sustain and early combat power. Every 4 seconds in combat, Grasp lets you auto-attack to heal and deal bonus damage based on your max HP. Your goal? Keep tagging the enemy with empowered autos and Grasp procs. Abuse your W to get fast 3-hit trades. This helps you trigger Grasp more often and stack Tear of the Goddess faster. Here's a sneaky trick. If you auto-attack with Grasp in cannon form and switch to hammer form before the auto lands, you'll proc Grasp as a melee attack. This means more healing and bonus damage than if you procced it as a ranged attack. Use this to maximize trades when going for an all-in. If the enemy gets too close, swap to hammer form and punish them with your E to knock them back. This lets you reset fights and go back to poking safely. Most melee top laners can't do anything against this unless you misposition. You're constantly poking them down while staying healthy yourself. And once they're low, that's when you go for the kill. Now let's talk about the build that makes this work. You start Doran's Blade for early damage and sustain, then rush a Tear of the Goddess to start stacking mana for later. First item, Unending Despair. Perfect synergy with Grasp, giving you sustain in fights and extra tankiness. Second item, Winter's Approach. This gives you a huge shield and mana scaling, turning you into an unstoppable force. Boots, Mercury Treads against CC and magic damage, or Plated Steel Caps if the enemy has heavy AD threats. Fourth item, Spirit Visage, if you need magic resist and more healing, or Thornmail if you need anti-heal against lifesteal heavy enemies. Additional items, Randuin's Omen is great if you're dealing with crit-heavy champions like Yasuo or Jhin, and other tank items are always welcome depending on the game state. With this setup, you're not just tanky, you're a problem. You survive fights, dish out consistent damage, and can still engage or disengage thanks to your hammer form. Mid-game, your role shifts from lane bully to frontline bruiser. You're not a squishy assassin anymore. You're the one absorbing damage, disrupting fights, and setting up plays for your team. Use hammer form E to peel enemies off your carries or disengage bad fights. Use your poke to soften up enemies before your team engages. In fights, your job is to be a nuisance, soak damage, zone threats, and take down priority targets when the time is right. Tank Jayce isn't just some random troll build, it's the off-meta that is becoming meta. If you're tired of getting one shot and want a playstyle that lets you dominate lane while still scaling into a tanky teamfight monster, this is the build for you. Try it out and let me know how it works for you in the comments. And if you liked this guide, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more off-meta builds. There's plenty more where this came from.